Okay.
Just about a little crinkle. Got a blind being made. The guy's been trying to do it for about a year now. Faffing around. He's using the vinyl.
My name's Andy Bishop. I'm Alan Bishop's son, who's a trustee of the Aston Martin Transport Museum, and he's been a member of the 3301 C1, Midland Red C1 code.
So we're in trouble if I miss the Brassington turn in, right?
That means we're going down Cromford Hill. I'll give you an anchor each.
Done a variety of things. Built rally cars on the lawn at the front of the house when I was a teenager, to building a Cobra kit car, and then 25 years ago, and I've done lots of other restorations. Some showman's living wagons for glamping. So in the 80s, we were on the Transpennine rally. It was an annual event. We used to go up there with the C1 coach. We were driving one of the main A roads, and my dad was driving, and he saw this on somebody's house drive. It's the back of it as he went past. So my dad just suddenly anchored the brakes, pulled over, and then just ran off down the road, and no word said. And then it was from then onwards that my dad got the details of the owner, a guy called Ronnie Storm. My dad spoke to him, and he was willing to sell it, but my dad didn't have any money, so he sort of had to save up and pay him in instalments and that lot, and then he left it even longer than that on the drive while he was saving up to get it transported. And when we say time, I mean it's years. I'm busy doing my other things in life when they got it moved, and at some point in time it got stored at a farm shed in Bromsgrove, and I went to look at it. At the time it was there, and I was about 28, 29. I looked at it and I thought, well, okay, I need some work, and I saw that the steel pillars and the window lines were rotten and that, and so started to look at one side, one pillar, and by the time I finished, all the roof was off, one side was in bits just to get to this pillar. And then as you're trying to take the pillar out, there's all wood wrapped around it, screwed around it and bolted, as was half the roof. So it became a bit of a monster really. And so anyhow, I got these steel ribs. My dad put £1,000 towards materials to get it started, and I changed 3 pillars. By this time I'd managed to shape them and bend them to size, bolted those in situ, and I got to the corner, and then other things transpired, family arguments or whatever, and I ended up going off building a kit car next to this for a year. And then I met my wife, had kids, and 20 years later I was already, it was a sort of seed in my mind, I need to come back to this at some point in time, because it had been left. Went to have a look at it, looked at the shed that it was in. The shed was sort of 3 vehicles wide, a little bit. Tired old vehicles either side in long-term storage, and this was parked in between them. And there was a 3-pin plug on an extension that fed into the shed for the lights. And so we basically rebuilt the coach in a shed with about 3 foot either side of it, just about, and a 3-pin plug power supply and some electric power tools, battery operated power tools. A lot of stuff I did do at home. I used to fabricate stuff at home in the weekends, and then I'd have a day of the week, did my hours in 4 days, so I got a spare day and I committed that day to working on this. Roger Burdett helped me, the guy for doing the vinyl printing, and the maquette suppliers and that. And yeah, the engine parts of it, new old stock engine parts, because we needed pistons, we needed valves, because the valves are all pitted and degraded. We've had new liners fitted and plasma welded block, and crank shells created because there was issues with one of the shells had split. Rear fiberglass panels have been repaired because they were badly damaged, splits and fatigue and that. And then we've had perspex rear screens made, and a perspex dome on the front, and they're moulded in 2 directions. So you're trying to find somebody who did that, to go to Colchester and get those done. A firm that does TV props and stuff, they were willing to take on the challenge. And then the other perspex, I've got a roof window that was repaired, so I had to get that in perspex, and I made a former for that and a former for the skylights and that lot, so that we could get those moulded in perspex. But they're more local because they're just straight throughs. I know a guy that does some fantastic restoration of Bakelite and that, and he does resin repairs and everything, and all the Bakelite capping was stripped back. It'd all been UV damaged, so he stripped it all back, polished it all up, so it's back to new. The chap in Solihull Way, he did all the seats for me, recovered them, foamed them, and that. I've got the maquette from a place called Sigma Form that Roger Burdett recommended, and they get their stuff now made in Turkey, but they do a minimum run, and I think it's like, say it's 60 metres for argument's sake, I think it's about that. They'll do, but I said to him, I said, well look, I want 30, I only really want some of it patterned and some not patterned, like, ideally because it matched the colour. I said, is there any way they could do 30 metres with a pattern on the 30 metres without the pattern? So it's the same colour red, but just without the pattern. He said, I'll ask him, and he asked him. I said, yeah, I did that. And with the run went a bit awry, they needed a bit more to do that. So I ended up paying a little bit more, but at least didn't have to pay for 2 runs. So that worked out well. The headrests, they were in an old photo, but Gary Truler lent me an original one, and I just made these up for authenticity to look right, that's what the coach would have had, the headrests, the antimacassars. There's a guy called Lewis, Barry Whitelaw put me in contact with Lewis, who worked at the garage with him. He did the lino, put the lino down, so we got that from Germany again, a contact from Roger Burdett about where we could get but Lewis, he helped fit it for me, trimmed it all off, which is good of him, and put marine ply floor down, and then line it out. And then, well, it's about it really. I mean, every little thing's been looked at, and sourced from one place to another. Some's new. The mirrors, they're new, but they're the same as what was originally on it. They look a bit odd, but they are what was on it in the photos. But they're just, there's a guy called Trig Parts, and he's on eBay, and he just sells those. So there are some you can get online still. Well, I mean, everywhere I go, there's been a positive reaction, quite amazing reaction really, because the amount of people are just in awe about it really. They think it's quite an amazing thing. It's blingy, isn't it, in aluminium? And don't I know it, because the price of chrome's expensive. I mean, it's even got a chrome handbrake emblem in gear. That's what it had, so that's what I replicated, in the restoration.
Right.
But the choice is these. Yeah, that's right. It's really positive, People are amazed, and a lot of people say that I never thought it'd be done. For those that knew about it, there's, when they know the condition of it and see that it's been done, are amazed with how it's come out.